My neighbor said my girlfriend kept him up at night while I was out of state.
He messed it up. You gotta do it again.
My girlfriend Kay and I have been dating for about 3 years, and we currently live together in my apartment. We both work in the same industry, which sometimes requires us to travel. Kay usually lets me know if she has people over whenever I'm out of town, and I have done the same for her too. By the way, this comes from Deleted. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we'd do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. This morning, I ran into my downstairs neighbor who awkwardly asked me to tone it down because he could hear us having spicy sleep from his apartment. I apologized and told him it would not happen again, and he thanked me since it was keeping him up at night for the past couple weeks. I got confused since I just got back from an out-of-state project that took several weeks, and he confirmed the noises had been going on for a while. During that time away, Kay never said she had anyone over and was mostly going out instead. I think she might be cheating on me. Before Kay, I had another girlfriend who cheated on me, because my brother found out and told me, and when I immediately confronted my ex, she first denied but later confessed. However, when we broke up, she and her friends who knew about her cheating lied and said I was the one who cheated, and everyone believed her since it was just me and my brother's words against hers until one of her friends felt guilty and revealed the truth. That incident messed me up for a while and made me swear off any relationships until I met Kay. Kay and I met a few months after I moved here from across the country for work, and she has been everything to me. She knows about my ex and agreed that cheating would be a deal breaker, but the possibility of her cheating is torturing me. Not just for having my heart and trust broken again, but I feel like a complete idiot for being this naive.
Man, it's not your fault, OP.
Since that morning, I felt really sick and just went back to bed. Kay is out right now and does not know I'm home. I do not have definite proof she's been cheating. My only word is my neighbor's. And I have no reason not to trust him since he's always been a pretty nice guy, and this was the first time he's ever complained. I feel like if I confront her now without proof, she'll pull the same thing my ex did. I really hope that I'm just being paranoid and she never cheated, but I feel like a horrible person for not trusting her and jumping to conclusions. What should I do? Confront her now or wait? If I do confront her, what is the best way to do so? And there is an update.
Do it by surprise, and you go, dude, the landlord told me that we had to tone down the spicy time because he was so loud. I've been gone for weeks.
Yeah.
So what's that about?
What's that about?
And if she fumbles for 1 second, then you know that she's lying.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty telling.
Because that should immediately be like the only other thing is if it's like, there's some people in the comments being like, what if it was just some little solo time? And she would go, oh my God, are you serious? Oh, that's so, no, that was so embarrassing.
Well, we're gonna find out. We're going to find out how
Well,
OP asked.
decibels are not always an indicator of performance quality.
So I was originally going to hint to her about what Dan, our neighbor downstairs, said about hearing some spicy sleep noises during the week, but as some suggested, that might tip her off, so I came up with something different. I texted her earlier in the afternoon that I was not going to be home until after midnight, but I waited at home to see if she would bring anyone with her while I was gone. She came home just by herself, but she was startled to see me, although she said it was because she did not see me on the couch. I told her I finished work earlier than expected and my phone just passed away. I tried looking at her phone while she was in the shower, but there is a passcode on there. Some people were also suggesting she might have been watching Korn or another adult show. I did not want to answer earlier, but it might be a possibility since both of us watch Korn usually together and we both do not have any problem with the other watching on our own. I asked if she watched anything while I was away and she said yes, and wanted to know if I was interested tonight, so I guess that made sense. I did not mention Dan hearing the noises, but still, it could not have been that loud enough to disturb Dan since we have always watched it in the bedroom. The only place where he could hear loud noises would be our living room where we do not play it. So despite her being really startled seeing me tonight, Kay has not acted out of the ordinary, and she gave me an answer without me tipping her off. But something feels off. I cannot really sleep since this whole thing has been keeping me up, and I still feel like she's hiding something. As much as I hate to do this, I might get a couple cheap cameras around the apartment to see if she brings anyone home while I'm out again. And there is a second update. I hate the idea of putting cameras in your house and filming her without her consent.
Yeah, not a good move.
Instead of just bringing it up. Like, she might lie, but she also, I don't know.
This is worse.
This
is where you actually talk to Dan, your neighbor, and be like, "Hey, man, I wasn't home for several weeks.
Yeah, can you tell me what you heard?"
Yeah, I don't want
This is awkward.
I don't want to jump to conclusions, but can we work together here? Like, if you hear that again, and I'm like, I'm gonna just kind of figure out the schedule here. Let me know.
You could like employ him and be like, I'm gonna say I'm going out of town for another thing. Let me know if this happens again, or if there's someone coming around, because I wasn't here, my guy.
As much as I hate to do this, I might get a couple cheap cameras around the apartment to see if she brings anyone home while I'm out again. And there is a second update. The next morning, I ran into Dan again while Kay was out for work. He apologized for the weird exchange, and I told him it was fine, but I was still curious and asked him what exactly he heard and when it happened so that it would not happen again. Dan was more comfortable this time and told me that it was a combination of loud moans and yeses and furniture being moved around, not just in the area where our bedroom is, but also in our living room, and they happened on and off past midnight. I asked if he heard anything on the night I came home, since Kay and I had spicy sleep that night, and he said he did not. My heart sank when he said that. I was just so shocked that I kept mumbling, "But I just got home that night." Dan put two and two together and started apologizing to me profusely. He apparently did not know that I had been out for weeks, and when he first addressed this to me, I thought he was only talking about the night I came back. I told him everything, and he said he felt awful that Kay might be cheating on me. He swore he never saw Kay with anyone the weeks I was gone, and when he interacted with her, she never indicated that I was out. Dan promised he would keep an eye out and let me know of anything suspicious, and if I needed anything, he would be there for me.
Shout out Dan. He's a great kisser.
Okay.
May cheat on your... Don't do it. Don't do that.
Don't do that. Based on what Dan said, Kay was definitely not watching Korn. But whenever we had spicy sleep, it was typically before midnight or in the morning, never past midnight. Part of me wanted to confront her immediately or throw her things out of my apartment. It's not under her name, but she splits expenses with me and change the locks, but I still have no proof other than just Dan. Per the advice given in the previous thread, I am planning on getting cameras and putting them around places where she probably cannot see them. The only problem is trying to schedule a time where I could be out. We both work in the same industry, and the projects we work on are pretty public. She's currently working on one that is local, while my next one is not for a couple weeks, but that's also local. I could not tell any of my friends this, so I called my brother instead, and of course he is livid. He and my family really loved Kay, and he was outraged on my behalf. He suggested what everyone else said and get cameras, but when I told him she was going to be out frequently and I was going to be home, he believed she could be seeing her cheating partner outside of my apartment and volunteered to fly out and tailor for me, which I immediately said no to. He has always been really hot-headed and abrasive, and my ex, before Kay, was able to use that against him when he caught her with her cheating partner.
I think, okay, we're doing so much. This is just like,
just
be
to
like,
confront her.
Babe, I have a question. What would you do if I was cheating on you? How would you feel if I was cheating on you? And then wherever she goes, she'd be like, oh my God, I'd be like, that's wrong. I'd be like sad. And then you go, oh great. So why did you do that to me? Then if that's how you feel, why did you do that to me?
At the end of the day, you just gotta confront her.
And then
confront her and break up with her.
I
and
don't
there
know
we
what
go.
you're talking about. You go, I literally heard you rearrange the furniture so you could get up in your gut. So I'm going to go out and find a new lady. And by the time I come back, I hope you're gone.
Yeah.
Because we're going to use the furniture tonight.
Oh.
And you probably won't like it.
Then he tried convincing me to hire a PI, but I was not really comfortable with that idea. Money is not the issue, just more like I felt it was too extreme. I told him not to tell anyone, and he reluctantly agreed. I just do not know how to process this. The thought of Kay bringing some guy home to sleep with on my bed and all over my living room, after all I told her about my cheating ex, has taken a huge mental toll on me.
Yeah, dude, it's time. You got to reclaim him. You got to reclaim
Break up with her. Break up with her.
You got to reclaim your dominance in the room like an alpha.
Was she taking advantage of me this whole time? Is it someone from her circle of friends who I've never really clicked well with but always got along fine? Or someone I've never met before? Honestly, when we first started dating, I always felt that she was out of my league. But you guys aren't out of our league. We're in the same league. And we hope that you listen to the full episodes of stories just like this that are in the league. They're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Riot Radio, and search a book of Storytime.
Yes.
Kay is so beautiful and jubilant, and I have always been kind of shy and reserved. She's helped me get out of my depression with my ex and helped me adjust to the city we live in after moving from across the country. Why would you do this to me? It really sucked having to lie when she got home last night and asked me how I was feeling and telling her that I was fine. She does not seem to suspect anything and she acts like nothing happened. And that's the end of the story.
My fiance called my tattoos trashy, so I canceled the wedding.
Your fiance's trashy.
This feels like an absolutely stupid situation, but I just need some perspective. I'm 32. My soon-to-be ex, I guess, possibly, is 29. And we've been together for almost 6 years now, and I have been tattooed this entire time. I got my first tattoo at 17, and I never really stopped. They're all very visible, and I'm pretty much tatted everywhere but my face. By the way, this comes from user Throwaway Tattoo Prob, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give you good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. So if you would do something different from us, just let us know in the comments. I have a good job. I make good money. I'm a good guy, even if that's maybe weird to say about myself. And my partner has always had good things to say about these things. However, apparently she secretly hates my tattoos or something. I came home early a week ago and her mom was at our place, as she often is, but they clearly didn't hear me come in and they were talking about me. I'm not the type to eavesdrop, but it didn't sound great, so I did. And to make a long story short, my literal fiance was complaining to her mom about how she was worried how my neck and hand tattoos would look in pictures and how they looked trashy and not elegant. And I don't have any back alley tattoos. All my stuff is well done. My first tattoo at 17 cost me $3,000 that I saved up for multiple summers as a kid. And I've always had a vision, so it's not like I'm covered in crap. I was just so effing shocked. Sorry, you didn't think to mention this to me in the 6 years we've been together when I proposed to you? Throughout the entire wedding planning? I got very, very angry the more I listened, but I don't like to be a yeller, so I had to regroup first, for sure. But it was a short interaction, to be honest. I just went into the room and was like, if you think I'm so trashy, then you don't have to marry me. And then I just left. I've been staying at my brother's place all week, and of course, my fiance and her family have been contacting me, but I've kind of just let them go. It feels wrong to get so bothered by something seemingly insignificant, but I feel like I've seen a part of her I can't look past. Am I the a-hole, or would I be the a-hole if I call the relationship off completely? Comment 1 says, you're not overreacting. The issue isn't just that she dislikes tattoos, it's that she's hidden her real feelings for 6 years and only expressed them behind your back. That is a breach of emotional honesty, and it shakes the foundation of trust. Her comments weren't about aesthetics, they revealed judgment and possible shame about how you represent her publicly. That's not something to brush off before marriage. Reply says this, all of this, as someone with tattoos, this would be a deal breaker for me. There are plenty of tattoo-free fish in the sea. Why even date me in the first place if you hate tattoos? Or, a reply says, it hasn't been a big enough deal to ever bring up, because everything else in the relationship is fine, and she took one little pet peeve she doesn't think about that often and vented about it with someone else. Reply says, little things we ignore and don't communicate for the sake of our partner build up over time and stop being little things and become a festering sore spot for the relationship. Comment 2 says, like so many posts here, is there a reason you can't just start with a conversation with her first? A reply says, I think it's fair to try to get an outside perspective and make sure you're seeing clearly before bringing up an obviously emotional topic with your SO. A good half of the fights hubby and I had at the beginning of our relationship could have been prevented with some outside perspective before we tried to talk about it. I'm not saying you should share your business with everyone you know before talking to your fiance. The opposite. Do not do that. It will not be remotely helpful and can damage their relationship with the people you know. But getting an anonymous opinion about it in case there's an angle you're not seeing can be very helpful. A reply says, I mean, she had 6 years to start a conversation about them to OP and didn't. Reply, I don't think she would have ever dated the dude or got engaged if she truly hated the tattoos. It's possible she could have just said that in front of her mom because her mom doesn't like them. Just effing talk to her and see how she explains herself. And there's an update.
Have the conversation, and hopefully it's a good one. I don't know. We here at OK Storytime, I feel like we're the only two who have tattoos. If our partners were like, I feel like our partners would be upfront with us. Be like, that tattoo's kind of dumb.
Yeah, I think they would. It's been a day now, and I appreciate all the comments from my last post. I was somewhat acting like an a-hole, and I recognize that. I'm just really not a person who's great with my emotions. I don't know. I don't think I realized how upset I am about it. A little context, but I'm not a small guy by any means. I'm 6'5", I weigh 300 pounds. I work out and have muscle. I have a lot of tattoos, like I said. I've always been a confident guy, but I honestly feel like an idiot discovering insecurity for the first time, which is so stupid because I'm literally 32.
Ah, brother, there's always time to learn something.
I'm home now. I went back a couple hours after I posted. It's embarrassing, but to be honest, when I got there and saw her, and it wasn't even intentional, but when I remembered everything, I just started to cry. And I haven't really cried like that in a long effing time. It was weird. And I still feel stupid for it, but my fiance was understanding. She reassured me that she's always liked my rugged look and that she's obviously attracted to me. But she and her family and her friends are all set on the elegant black tie fancy wedding, which I don't mind. I let her take the reins on choices because she does have a great eye. And she was just stressed out about it a lot. And that what I'd heard had been started by her mom complaining about how I wouldn't fit into the aesthetic or whatever. And then she'd gotten in her head about it, and then she said the crappy things at the time that I just so happened to get home. I don't know if she's telling me the truth or not, and I guess I can never really know. I'm not going to go around prying. I'm really hurt, which is a not so familiar feeling. It just really hurts that she didn't stand up for me. I've known many guys in the past who have made inappropriate jokes or weird comments about my lady, and I'm effing quick to shut that down. And here I was thinking those actions were mutual. I guess not. I just don't want to marry her at all in this mindset, really. But I also don't want to end things after 6 years. It's been a long time and a special time. I do love her, but no decisions are really set in stone right now. But we're not separated, so that's something. But I'm usually the type to shrug stuff off. But I'm finding it difficult to get rid of this one. But you'll never get rid of us, because you can listen to full episodes with stories like this whenever you want on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. Just search OK Storytime, and you got a whole plethora of stories to listen to. We just wrapped up dinner, and I'm not really angry anymore. I just feel sad and pretty stupid for thinking things were fine when they're clearly not effing fine, but that's that. Maybe I'm just an emotionally stunted loser for getting so worked up about all this. Sorry for the depressing update, but that's life. And thanks to everyone who gave me useful advice. It did help gather my thoughts. She mentioned counseling, so maybe that's worth a try. But hey, on a positive note, to the one person who asked, I do indeed have a beard. And it is a very nice one.
Oh, this guy's just rubbing it in now.
I see this guy.
This
in my
guy's a
mind's
Viking.
eye.
This guy's definitely a Viking.
Just be like, oh, did you just like when you were 12, you decided to make your entire personality the action figure aisle at the toy store? He'd be like, shut up, nerd. And then he'd crush me into a small pile. He'd take his arm and just compress me into the ground.
He'd just clap and you disappear.
Comment 1. At minimum, all wedding planning needs to be put on hold indefinitely. If a date has been picked, cancel it. Everything can be rescheduled until you know for sure whether your relationship is going to make it through this. If there are some fees involved, it's still a lot cheaper than divorce. If your fiance is sincerely remorseful, she will fully understand. If she throws a fit about postponing, then you'll know for sure she isn't really sorry, but only said she was to shut you up. That is so not true. The whole context is she's already massively stressed out about the wedding. Now you're going to say it needs to be postponed and canceled. She's going to throw a fit.
It's gonna stress
as
me out.
anybody would. Like, it's being like, yeah, and if she can't accept that, that shows you. That's so stupid. That is so stupid. Relationship counseling will be wise. I agree with that. She needs to prove that she will have your back going forward and will shut down anyone who talks crap about you. Crucially, her response to postponing the wedding is an important first test. If she pushes back on that, you can be dang sure that's the first step towards minimizing how much she hurt you. If she agrees and is committed to having your back against any family members that complain, that's a good sign that she's willing to put her money where her mouth is and learn from her F-ups. OP says, yeah, we'll definitely be pushing it back, which sucks, but it's necessary. And that's the end of that story. Hey, man, maybe I'm just hearing in my head, not what she said. But from what you said, doesn't sound like she really went that hard on you.
My boyfriend got offended because I didn't notice him in high school?
Notice me, senpai.
My boyfriend and I, both 25, went to the same high school. My boyfriend was talking about our high school days. He thought high school me would have been thrilled to date the popular guy, because I was a nerd. Mind you, we're 25 and it's 2024. By the way, this comes from user NoJob7202, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Keon.
I'm Dakota.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers, so we only know what we do. Please let us know what you do in the comments. I played along for a bit until I realized he wasn't joking. He literally thought that. I told him that I didn't know he existed. He was surprised and said that he was a popular kid. He played football and was in the popular crowd. He said that I must have been lying. I told him that the nerds never cared about the popular kids in high school because we were fiercely competing amongst ourselves for college admission. For a backstory on our town, my boyfriend was born and raised there, but I only moved when I was 13 along with a bunch of other high-achieving kids. That's because an engineering company opened up a branch near that town and brought in a ton of engineers and their families. So it was a sleepy town with a big high school that suddenly got a ton of competitive kids. And I mean insanely competitive. Nobody had time to think about popular kids or really anything but college admissions. I was only getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night regularly. Sports like football or cheerleading, which required 5 days a week of training at school, were out of the question. And I saw the same people regularly because we were all in the same classes. So all of the drama was contained within that group of 50 to 100 or so students. It paid off for me. I got into a top college and had no student loans. It was literally cheaper than the state school. And despite my auto-generated username, I do have a good job that I do enjoy. My boyfriend said I'm lying. I don't like being called a liar. So I literally reached out to all of my high school nerd friends, and yep, they didn't know the popular group and the ins and outs of the dynamics like my boyfriend thought. A few people recognized some names, but like I said, we were really focused on competing with each other. He got quiet when I proved my case. He said I humiliated him and proved my point, and we should never mention high school again. I talked with his sister, and she said that high school was a special experience for him, and I ruined his memories? Am I the a-hole? And we have some relevant comments here, Dakota. What say you?
You're not the a-hole.
You did nothing. You did nothing wrong.
With his own existence. It's crazy.
You did nothing wrong. He was like, I was throwing out aura in high school. Did it not reach your tiny brain, OP?
This should have been to the level of like, I guess I didn't know you in high school. And then it should have been, oh wow, yeah, I guess you didn't.
I'm surprised.
Wow, that's crazy.
I'm surprised he didn't throw out like, I was a popular guy. I played football. I slept with literally any girl I wanted to. I could have done it with you even if I tried. It's like, she's all that. She's all that. It's literally, she's all that.
It's just like, it should be such a absolutely nothing thing. And the fact that it's becoming
it's really peak.
This is unacceptable is like, that's crazy.
It's provoking his insecurities and his masculinity to the highest extreme.
Yeah.
But we have some relevant comments. First off, verdict, not the a-hole. Some relevant comments here, and funny enough, this username, Nick too cool for school, not the a-hole. I won't echo the peaked in high school thing, because while it may have an echo of truth, I also think it's reductive. I think it's more important for your boyfriend to realize that the reason nerds bond together in places like high school and why weirdos, nerds, freaks, and geeks self-identify as such despite implied social stigma is that it's a conscious act of defiance against the notion that their self-worth is solely defined by the dominant social hierarchy. OP responds, I'm going to be really honest here. It was not about defiance in any way for us. In fact, we played more heavily into a social hierarchy measured by the prestige of your college and perceived pathway. It was a very competitive and unhealthy environment. The reason I or other people didn't care about popular kids or freaks or weirdos because they weren't competitors. If my boyfriend was a student athlete who had great stats, we would all have known and cared. It's not a good thing, but it's the reality of many high-achieving students in high school. SiriX8472 says, not the a-hole, but why does your boyfriend feel a need for others to validate his high school experience? Why can't he just remember it as he did and then be that? Nothing's changed. And edit to say, these are rhetorical questions for OP. We all already know the answer. VarietyGamer928 says, not the a-hole. It begs the questions why your boyfriend feels the need to feel superior in your relationship. OP responds, he doesn't really have a superiority complex. He just saw those videos talking about my boyfriend/girlfriend in high school versus me and thought about us because we were in high school. On the flip side, he loves those jokes about one person having a silly job, like him, while their partner has a serious job with real-world ramifications. I think he just liked the idea of me having a crush on him in high school back in the day when life wasn't complicated and real. Pakta says, not the a-hole. I agree with you. I went to a huge high school with around 600 kids in each grade. I honestly didn't even know a lot of the kids in my grade and really just stuck to my group about 50 kids. We were the emo kids. We could have cared less about any other groups of kids and couldn't tell you if anyone was popular. OP responds, that was so similar to my experience. At our graduation, I was like, who the F are these people? It's not like the smart kids tried to stick together, though. Being in the same classes and all that stuff all the time just does that to you. Most of us absolutely hated each other. By Nightcrawler B, I wonder if he has implied or said that he noticed you in high school? There may be non-popularity aspects here. Is he romanticizing your attraction / was expecting that you had noticed him, and he is now hesitant to admit that he has noticed you in high school? Maybe a sense of destiny or / his internal sense of we were meant to be. It might be too charitable, but it might be worth exploring whether this has messed with his internal narrative of your romance being something that could have begun before it began? OP responds with, at the very least, he knew I was a senior. I was the first student in like 30 years to get into a certain college, and it was all over our pages. A few other students had similar accomplishments, so the school thought it was a great idea to plaster our pictures at the front of the school, as well as put in our school district website for months. My boyfriend joked that he fell in love with me because of a god-awful picture they posted. It was literally the ugliest photo I had ever seen, mustache and eye bags on full display. This was also the school that stapled a list of college seniors who were going to their front hallway. Back in the day, it would be a cute way to see where your classmates were going, but when it became competitive, it was basically a mark of shame for kids, which was honestly a shame and quite sad. And we do have an update. Anything to add?
It's just like, I just hope this is something that is worked through instead of it just becomes this insurmountable moment that changes y'all forever. It just, because it really shouldn't weigh that much at all.
Yeah, I was going to say, in my words, it's like, it's not that serious. Like, cool, you peaked in high school, or you were really popular in high school. I was popular among my friends. It don't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It was high school. I went at the time in high school, probably like the biggest thing in your life. But once you graduate, go onto the real world, for the most part, who gives a crap?
It just matters. Do you have friends? Do you like them?
Are you happy?
That's all.
Yeah, are you happy with your life? There you go. And we do have an update. I know my boyfriend isn't a loser still stuck in his glory days in high school, so I talked to him and asked why he was upset at me not knowing him in high school. Well, he told me he did have a passing hallway crush on me. The mustache, eye bags, and all, which was flattering to hear. He felt defensive because I kind of stomped all over his daydreams of fleeting thoughts of each other. He also literally thought I was lying because he knew of me, and he thought wrongly that I would know him. I hate being called a liar, which made me go on a warpath. Don't worry, I didn't tell my friends why I was asking about my boyfriend's friend group, but they'll probably figure it out. He apologized and we hugged it out. Honestly, these comments were really wild. People were salivating over my boyfriend being this apparent loser jock character. I wasn't making a statement about anything. My boyfriend and I just ran in different social groups, neither better nor worse than the other. Well, maybe mine, because that was slightly more toxic. And by the way, you know what isn't toxic? Is you listening to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to your favorite podcast app, such as Spotify, Apple Podcast, or iHeartRadio, and searching OK Storytime. We had different social experiences, with good and bad points. I can't believe the number of stereotypes about nerds, which I never considered myself, LOL, or popular kids in these comments. I was definitely not taking a social stance by not noticing the popular kids. They just weren't in my radar. I missed way more days of school than my boyfriend for competitions for my clubs. As a boring person, I didn't have any drama, but I witnessed a lot. There were always parties and sneaking around, but there were always this undercurrent of stress that dominated my school life. I don't regret high school, and I'm grateful for the opportunities and experiences, but I don't want to go back. I'm not better or worse than my boyfriend because of my high school experience. We're all just people at the end of the day, and it shouldn't really matter. It's, as long as you're happy, you have good relationships with people, that's all you need. You had high school, you made friendships, you had the experience, that's life. High school should not be the one thing you should focus on or think about all the time.
Yeah, if you're not the coolest, if you don't want to be the coolest
As someone
guy.
who didn't peak in high school, no, high school was never that serious for me, so
High school should be the only thing you think about for the rest of your life.
not even college, just high school.
Yep, that's it. That's all it is.
But unfortunately, like high school's being over for us,
Yeah.
this is the end of that story.
It's so over.
And it's
That
the end of this
story's
episode.
over. High school is over. This episode is over. So if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And see you
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
We literally have a 1.